Yahar mateys. Good morning, ye landlubbers. We got LIMBUS news. Woohoo! It's your favorite channel back again reporting on the news in the most overcomplicated, over-detailed way possible. I know you always look forward to it every other week. We got the middle, little brother Meursault, the middle, little sister Don, and then some patch notes, and obviously the release of the second wave of Chapter 5. Pretty straightforward stuff. I've not seen the trailer for the IDs yet, so, you know, maybe we'll take a look at them, but I know you're all here for the ID reviews, so let's just get right into it, shall we? Pretty easy to see. He is a 2-star little brother, my little bro. Meursault looking pretty spicy in the middle. I think this is like the first proper representation visually that we've gotten of the middle. Besides like in Ryoshu's like base art or something. Like, I don't what is it's like her base artwork or something. Yeah. Okay, so this is obviously the base art for Ryoshi, the key art for the character. We got the thumb, we got the index, and then we got the middle. And the middle has like the purple chain, skull motif going on. So, you know, that's like the only visual representation we've ever got of the middle, I think, before now. So now we actually kind of understand what they're doing. They're purple and have chains. Insane. Let's get this. Meursault looking pretty spicy with all blunt. Wow, Meursault with all blunts. Tell me about it. Not surprising, but, you know, it's appreciated. His meta ID currently is like W Corp. W Corp is just basically a support unit, so, you know, and he does all slash damage. So, I mean, all blunt is okay. Not really focused on his damage dealing capabilities for the most part. Although, he does do, like, as of now, Meursault in the meta kind of does do some decent damage because of Regret, but it's largely untested because Regret is such a new ego. So, I mean, you know, people are exploring the possibility of using Regret, but it might be too slow for a lot of fights. It depends, we'll see. But, you know, obviously now with Regret on the radar, we want more coins rather than less. So 2, 2, and 3 is like, okay. It's fine. Rhino is like kind of where you want to be. Rhino has a 1 coin skill 1, but he has a 3 coin skill 2 and 3. So it's a little bit more quote-unquote balanced on this ID, the coin distribution on his skills. But it plays a little bit worse into Regret, which is unfortunate. So, it's okay. Sin Resonance is pretty good. Wrath is nice to see. So, we remember, skill 1. Clash Lose, gain Envy damage up next turn, inflict bleed. Pretty standard. Clash Lose, I mean, what can you say? Whatever. Alright. Okay. Chains of Loyalty is skill 2. No longer Chains of Others. We're now loyal. Combat start, apply Envy power up to allies adjacent to this unit on the dashboard. Apply Envy damage up as well when selecting Envy affinity skills from the affected skill slots. Okay. So he applies Envy power up to allies adjacent to himself. And then applies Envy damage up if those allies use Envy skills. Okay. That sounds pretty, from the affected skill slots. Okay, I understand. I was like, why does it need to be affected skill slots and not just allies? Well, if your ally has 2, like, let's say, you know, clean up my screen a little. Okay, let's say that Meursault is, like, here, right? Let's say Meursault is here, and then you have, like, some other bozo, and they have 2 skill slots, and he just has 1. You know, he just has his skill 2, and then this guy has, like, you know, oh my goodness. This guy has like 2 skills, but this skill is like, let's say, a sloth skill, and this skill is like an envy skill, right? So the ally here, I don't know, let's say it's like W Don, right? WD Gaster. You know, let's say it's W Don, and she has her skill 1 and her skill 3. Because she's the adjacent ally, she would get the envy power up. Like, she would get the envy power up, but because the adjacent skill is not envy, she would not get the envy damage up. So that's the difference. I was confused for like a half second until I figured it out. But okay, this seems pretty ridiculously good. This seems like ridiculously strong, actually. Insane potential for something here. Is it better than W Meursault? That's a really good question. I'll have to read the rest before I can make a judgment on that. But, you know, inflict some meager bleed, I assume. Okay. And then recording is his skill 3 coins. At X plus envy resonance, gain coin power. At Y plus envy abs res, gain coin power. Usually I would be like, abs res is not happening. But abs res, when it's envy, and you're assuming you want to use this on like a big turn, because it will probably do more damage than this. I assume it will probably do more damage than this. So you might want to use this on a big turn. It's just a shame that this isn't an envy skill, so it can't contribute to the abs res, which is sad. But it's okay. If target has Vengeance Mark, inflict plus coin drop. If target has Vengeance Mark, inflict envy fragility. Next turn. Vengeance Mark is applied to the unit that dealt the most damage to an ally. So it's just an arbitrary mark, I guess. That's fine. Same thing with like Insight on Diachiroja. It's just an arbitrary number that has no inherent value until you use things that interact with it. Makes sense. Okay, so you would use this on the setup turn then. But it has to be the most damage dealt to an ally. So it would be like a 3-turn setup, because you can't start with this on turn 1, right? Because no enemies have dealt any damage. So it would not get applied until turn 2, and then you would be able to use this on turn 2, and then you would use Chains of Loyalty on turn 3, so you can capitalize on the envy fragility. I understand. Okay. He has a 2-coin counter, which is very rare. If at X plus envy abs res, including this skill, gain coin power. Okay, not a bad counter, to be honest. It depends on his health whether or not he'll be able to actually use it. But this is like an upper tier counter skill, at least. It just sucks that, in my opinion, counters are like by far the worst defensive skill in the game. So, you know, make of that what you will. But for a counter, it's really good. And then his passive is Loyalty. At turn end, apply Vengeance Mark to one unit that dealt the most skill damage to an ally. Makes sense. If this unit's main target has Vengeance Mark, gain final power. That's kind of neat. And then, if there's another surviving ally from the middle, other than this unit and surviving ally from the middle, gain with the least sanity, both heal sanity at every turn end. So he constantly boosts his own sanity. That's a nice bonus for when you're spamming egos. And Meursault does like to use egos. It's not like he's spamming them usually, but he does enjoy using egos. And the other ID from the middle is obviously Don. And Don hates getting her sanity dropped, because all of her good IDs really like hitting heads, especially W Don, but also Sank Don also really wants to hit heads. So, you know, and we'll see with the middle Don, but this is honestly really good for Don, if nothing else. I don't know if Meursault in particular cares too much about it, but Don cares about this a lot, so that's something. And then we got one family. One ally with the least sanity heals sanity at turn end if there's another ally from the same faction. Is this from the same faction? Is that just the middle? Or what? One ally with least sanity heals sanity at turn end if there's another ally from the same faction. No, okay, I think the way it works is one ally with the least sanity. The ally with the least sanity, let's say hypothetically, is like from W Corp. They would heal sanity at turn end if there's another ally from W Corp. I think is how it would work. So like, if there's one ally with the least sanity and the ally with the least sanity is like R Corp, like Reindeer Ishmael, for example, then she would heal if you have another R Corp member on the team. Which is, I mean, that's really cool. First of all, that's really cool because it encourages the team synergy. Second of all, it's really good. It's really good. And it also encourages people to think a little bit more about the lore of the game because you can pay attention to who has what. Like, let's say, for example, you're on Molar Ishmael, right? Like, the only other Molar ID is, like, Isang and Sinclair or something. Well, wait, like, would they count? Wait, hold on. It's weird as hell, actually. Would Molar Boatworks be the same as Molar Office? Because then if you brought, like, Molar Ishmael and Molar Otis, would they count as the same faction? Or is one Molar Boatworks and the other one is, like, Molar Office, so they don't count? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to find out. Hedge your bets in the comments. But this ID looks particularly solid, especially for a 2-star. It seems really, really solid. So if you're new here, we give 2 ratings on this channel for the IDs, just based on their kit. Obviously, well, you know, you don't know the coin values yet. You don't know the numbers yet. Yeah, I understand, you know, but it's usually very easy to tell how good an ID will be without the coins, just based on their kit alone, how much potential they will have. So don't worry about it. It's very rare that you get like a Ninclair situation where it's like, okay, his kit looks okay, you know, he's probably a burn ID, and then he hits you with the 30 base power skill 3. Like, nah. Like, usually that does not happen. So we can be pretty safe in our assumption, usually. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, you know, or in case you need a reminder, we have 2 ratings. We have the general rating. General rating is based solely on himself, with no outside influence or anything, just in a vacuum. What his kit looks like, it's rated out of 10. And then we have the meta rating. I should probably change the color of the damn pen, like, yeah, use blue. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll, you know, whatever. I'll put it up here, actually. So we have the general rating and the meta rating, right? General rating is, in a vacuum. You know, I take into consideration synergy with other people, obviously. But, you know, if he's, like, competing with other IDs, or, you know, there's things holding him back in Railway or whatever, then, you know, I'm not holding it against him, right? Like, it's just in a vacuum, how good is he, or how good do I think his kit is. And the meta rating, meta just means Railway, basically. How influential do I think he will be in Railway? You know, if he's competing with other IDs that are meta, it will hold him back. If his Sin Resonance is not favorable for the Railway meta, it will hold him back. Just for, you know, for example. Same thing, I'm looking at passives and stuff, comparing it with what we have. You know, just generally speaking. So, for general rating, he seems really solid. I don't know if the average person would get the most amount of use out of him. I'm not saying the average person does not know how to line up skills on the dashboard, okay? Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I feel like the average person is like a Chains of Others user. And if you use Chains of Others, he will get sent all the way to the end of the damn dashboard. So you can't really abuse the envy power up on more than one person at a time if you use that. which is, you know, kind of unfortunate. And also, you know, he has, like, his best general ID is, like, Rhino, in my opinion. Because Rhino's just solid and consistent. And now that he has, Regret Ego, he actually can do solid damage and Clash too. So that's, like, you know, probably better than this, but I don't know. In a non-optimized situation, I feel like this ID is kind of mid, to be honest. If you're not trying to, you know, if you're not trying to play super hard into the NB power up and NB damage up, I could see him just kind of performing average at best. So I'd say general rating, I'll give him like a 5, because I don't think the average person is going to want to reset on stages or play around the NB power-up more than just like, oh, well, it's a happy coincidence that he landed between W Don and W Ryoshu, right? So, like, but he does have the synergy with the Thumb Don. You might think, like, it might be a little bit, you know, it might be a little bit unfair to rate him without reading Thumb Don also, because what if they synergize with each other? Don't worry, I'll change the rating at the end. If, like, after I read Thumb Don, I'll change his rating if it ends up being relevant. But for now, based on just himself, let's say you don't have Thumb Don, or not Thumb, bro, why am I saying Thumb? I mean Middle, obviously. My bad. Middle Don, right? If you don't have Middle Don, for whatever reason, then Meursault in a vacuum, I'd say is like a 5. Maybe. Just because Envy Fragility is nice, just because his support passive is nice, and his kit seems solid overall, it's just like, outside of optimized play, I don't think he gets as much value as he could, you know. And then meta-wise, obviously, people are gonna go bananas over this. I don't think that it's really that relevant unless it's like an absurd amount of power and damage up. Right now, in my mind, I'm just assuming that it's 1 for each. Like, maybe it's 1 NV power up and 2 damage up or something. Which is, like, a good amount. It's a good amount of damage and NV power up, to be honest. But, like, compared to, like, if you just use W Meursault skill 3, which is more consistent to set up because, obviously, we don't know middle Meursault's speed value, so, you know, it's a little iffy, but W Meursault we know has like 4 to 8 or some ridiculous speed value, so that's good for him. And defense level down is just, it impacts everyone's damage, so it's actually like super good. And he has a W Meursault has a 4-coin skill 3, so it plays into Regret also, just that little bit better. So he has some stiff competition, but for a 2-star, he seems really good. If we have like great values on this and his speed is like mid, I'm thinking like middle Meursault, his speed in order for him to be like appealing has to be like 3 to 6, which is like exactly average. Just because the other targets that you want to hit with it are like W Don, W Ryoshu, and Rabbit, and they have like mid speed values also. So, you know, he kind of wants to be in the middle of the dashboard. Does not take a genius to see that he wants to be in the middle of the dashboard, okay? But I think if he gets like 3 to 6 speed, we're chilling. If he gets any more or any less than that, then things get a little hairy. But his competition is pretty steep. I'll say probably like a 7 though for meta. Like a, nah, okay, that's a little too high. I'll give him like a 5. I'll give him like a 5. I think the setup for Vengeance Mark might just be a little too slow. In Railway, 3 turns is kind of tough. In order to get the whole setup going, 3 turns is a little tough. And then Chains of Loyalty, the payoff better be insanely good for it. Otherwise, there's not really a reason to use him outside of support passive, which is admittedly very nice. So I'd say like 5 meta rating, as in like 50% chance he's meta relevant in some way. I'm literally coin flipping. Like that, I'm like super on the fence on if he's meta or not. I'm leaning towards not, but like I don't know. So I'll leave it at a 5 and 5 for now. We'll read Don. We'll read middle Don, and then we'll go back to Meursault if things change. So it's not set in stone. We'll see. We'll see. So we'll see what she's got. She's an all blunt ID. That's crazy. Don with blunt. I think the last time we had one was like Mittelhammer Don or something. Like, okay, sure. Check in the book. Heal sanity on self on use, and then if like bleed, pretty standard. On use heal sanity is very appreciated though. That's actually not bad. Skill 2 proof of loyalty. Combat start skill gains offense level by highest absolute resonance over X, probably over 2. Okay, offense level is really not impactful enough to be super relevant, honestly. If this is like the lowest possible number this X could be is 2. If you're abs resing 3, I'm assuming, I don't know how it rounds, but let's just say like let's say your abs resing 4, because I don't want to get into rounding, right? But your abs resing 4 over 2, so you gain 2 offense level. That's really not that much. You might gain a tiny bit of clash power over the enemy, but like the damage difference is really not that significant on 2 offense level, right? If the highest abs res is envy, boost the offense level gained by the above effect. Okay, again, abs res, usually I would write it off as pretty inconsistent and mostly not considerable, but envy abs res is specifically easy to achieve because most of the meta IDs have envy. So it honestly does not seem too difficult and unreasonable to assume that you could achieve this on a nuke turn. The problem is, on a nuke turn, I really don't want to be using a 2-coin skill 2. That's like kind of tough. So whatever. And then boost offense level gain from the above effect further in focused encounters under a certain participation limit. Under a certain participant limit, I'm assuming it's gonna be under 7. Like, like, what would the reasonable number be? It would not be, it's probably like under 7, right? That makes the most sense, because in chapter 5, we're looking at like 6 center, like teams, basically, right? 6 center teams, so I'm assuming it's under 7. But like, even if it was like under 8 or something, like, so you could use it in Railway, I don't know how good it would really be. And if it's under 7, then it's just not usable in Railway because they removed the ability to gain extra skill slots in Railway. So it's like just not useful there pretty much ever, unless it's just permanently on because the certain participation limit is 8 or lower or something. So it's like, I don't know. On hit bleed and damage down, I mean, that's pretty okay. Damage down is nice, I guess. And then skill 3 is Adjust Vengeance. Combat start gains offense level by highest abs res over X, same as the other one. It looks like the entire effect is the same as the previous one, so same thing. It's a 4-coin skill 3 though, which is pretty solid. And if you're gaining offense level, it's honestly pretty good. The problem is, like, the highest abs res is envy abs res. Why the hell is this a pride skill, by the way? Like, same thing with Meursault. Like, I want his skill 3 to be envy and his skill 2 to be wrath, and then they just swap these. Like, just swap them, bro. No, but for real, envy damage up when selecting envy affinity skills from the affected skill slots. Like, okay, and then envy power up to allies adjacent. But, like, why would you give envy power up if my main button is pride? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then highest abs res is envy abs res, but then you have a pride skill, so you just ruin your own chain. Really strange, really unfortunate how the resonance, like, kind of pans out, I guess. And then heads hit, inflict bleed, inflict bleed, inflict bleed. Target is defeated. One ally with the least sanity heals sanity. I mean, that's nice. Nothing insanely groundbreaking, but nice. And then another 2-coin counter. If at X plus Envy Absres, including the skill, use Adjust Vengeance as counter. Ah! I understand now. It makes so much sense why it's not an Envy skill. Holy crap. I see. Okay. Okay. So, obviously you just throw this thing out. Not bad at all, actually. It's one of those things where she replaces her counter with the skill. I think the only one who does that in game right now is Rogia, Kurakuma Rogia, with Sky Clearing Cut or whatever. Honestly, seems pretty solid now. Because you could use multiple counters in the same turn if you have multiple slots, like focus encounters under a certain participant limit, right? If you're in specifically not Railway, you could use this multiple times. The problem is, like, if her stagger bar and health is low, she'll never get the counter off. Like, again, I don't really like counters in this game, so it's kind of iffy. Even though it seems cracked on paper, it is kind of iffy. But it is resonance on demand, which is pretty solid, to be honest. Like, you can contribute an Envy skill on demand if you want, which is nice. Upon activating the above effect, the skill's affinity is changed to Envy. Obviously, makes sense. Of course. Lower stagger threshold on self twice if you're not replacing, but I imagine you're almost always going to be replacing. The stagger threshold is okay. Gain Envy damage up next turn every time the enemies strike an ally X times. Envy damage up next turn every time the enemies strike an ally, including this unit, X times. Okay, I'm assuming it's capped at, like, at some value, like 2 or 3 maybe. But, that seems pretty solid potential. You know, you can just selectively tank. You know, even at the highest level, you do tank. You know, it's not really accurate to just say, well, don't take damage, you know? Like, sometimes it's unavoidable. And sometimes you do actually want to tank, so it's not completely unreasonable to assume that this would go off maybe 2 or 3 times a turn, maybe. At turn end, apply Vengeance Mark to one unit that dealt the most skill damage to an ally, same as Meursault. If this unit's main target has Vengeance Mark, gain coin power. Okay, coin power is really good. This is like the most important line of text here. Main target is Vengeance Mark, gain coin power. If we're looking at skill 3, that is potentially a shit ton of coin power. And then favoritism, one ally with lowest max health gains blunt damage up next turn every time the enemy strike an ally not including this unit X times. This seems too inconsistent to really make a big splash. Most of the time, probably. Seems very inconsistent. But overall, again, we'll do our 2 ratings. That is a terrible G. General rating seems really, really funny. Seems really funny, just generally. If you run her with Meursault, obviously things get a lot better, right? I will rate her with Meursault in consideration, because Meursault's a 2-star. So, generally, I think she's on paper very solid. Obviously, her coins are going to be very important to see whether or not she's actually good. But just based on her kit alone, 4 coins, she can use the counter multiple times, potentially, and gains coin power on passive if the main target is Vengeance Mark, which, if you're doing a boss fight, they will always have the Vengeance Mark. So, seems honestly pretty good. Like, really good, generally. Better than W Don, we'll talk about it in the meta rating, but general rating seems pretty solid. I'm gonna say, like, you know, generally it's like a 9. Like an 8 or a 9. I think she would be a lot of fun to play with in a casual setting. I'll say a 9. In a casual setting, you bring her and you bring middle Meursault, and all of a sudden, like, she kind of actually can pop. I think she's gonna be super solid generally. Meta-wise, it's a really tough call. Like, meta-wise, when we don't have values on any of her stuff, it's a really tough call. And W. Dot is obviously a really tough person to dethrone. Probably, like, top 3 IDs in the entire game, depending on who you ask. Top 5 IDs in the game for sure, though. But it's not like if you use Middle Dawn, it's not like you can't bring Telepole anymore. First of all, like, you still bring Telepole on her, possibly. So it's not like you can't bring Telepole anymore for your teammates if you run Middle Dawn. But like, I don't know. I think W Dawn, first of all, her W Dawn's Sin generation is just better because she generates Gloom, and right now it's like Rhyme Shank, Fluid Sac meta for egos generally. So we do need a lot of Gloom generation for Rhyme Shank and Fluid Sac, which are, again, the most used egos right now generally. So I mean, it's kind of tough to justify not. And also, Leap, W Dawn skill 2 is a broken skill 2, like, let's be honest. And then, obviously, Rip Space is ridiculously powerful. I think, like, the counter is funny. The counter is funny because it can go off multiple times. But in Railway, you can't get it to go off multiple times because you can only have one slot. So at best, you're just using a counter version of this. And, like, I would rather not get... I don't know how bulky she's going to be, but I would rather not get hit if I have the choice to not get hit. So, you know, there's that, obviously. And then also, like, what's it called? I think W Dawn might just synergize better with Thumb Meursault than Thumb Meursault, bro. Why do I keep saying Thumb? Middle Meursault. I think W Dawn might synergize better with Middle Meursault than Middle Dawn does, because W Dawn has a 5-coin Envy skill 3 that you can just throw out on demand, and like, obviously the 1 extra coin matters a lot in terms of total damage potential. As well as the fact that it's just an Envy skill straight up, so you don't have to jump through any hoops with the counter or anything either. So, like, I don't know. I mean, it's a hard sell. I think personally, I mean, just for me personally, I would rather use W Dawn just based on the kit. I would rather use W Dawn, assuming Middle Dawn releases and she's like of equal power to W Dawn. I think I would still rather use W Dawn because it's less gimmicky. So I think probably going to be like, I'll leave the door open for her to be meta relevant. In some capacity, I'll say 7. 70% chance she's meta relevant in some way. Possibly. Like, 7 is like, people will experiment with her and some people might take her. Is like where I'm at. Where it's like, you know, some, if you're doing low turns, like, people will experiment with bringing her, but I don't think everyone will automatically include her, is like what a 7 means. I don't know, like, it's so hard. Without coins, it's so hard. But that's kind of where I'm at. Should I boost Meursault's rating because of this? General rating will go up. Obviously, general rating. It was a 5. I'll boost it to a 6. I'll boost it to a 6. Because now Envy power and Envy damage is easily obtainable if you run them together. Because the Envy counter is actually a major part of Middle Dawn's strategy. So you can grab Envy on demand if you want, which is actually not bad. Meta rating, I'm still going to say the same though. It's like 5, maybe a 4. Like, yeah, I'll keep it at a 5. But, like, I'm not going to boost his meta rating because of Middle Dawn, just because I don't think Middle Dawn is going to be better than W Dawn. If anything, you just run Middle Meursault and then run W Dawn anyway. I think. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. And then patch notes, obviously. We got, you know, new extraction. You know, new IDs, whatever. Gradual main story release, obviously. We get the second part of chapter 5, makes sense. And then XP Lux number 5 added. What the hell? There's another XP Lux. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. Season Pass 3 reward Hong Lu, Effervescent Corrosion rating change from Tet to Hay tier. I mean, like, I don't even know what the hell that is, so whatever. Unlocking enemy inflow displays levels, sure. It added an option in the settings gameplay to toggle detailed skill info UI in the combat phase. Sure. Not really sure what that means, but whatever. The game now displays detailed skill info UI in the combat phase during focused encounters. Okay, sure. Still don't really know what that means, but whatever. Fix an issue where the effects of agitated status effect from panic was mislabeled. Low morale. 1 damage up 2 fragile, 2 damage up 5 fragile. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's very rare that I interact with low sanity on the enemies anyway. Fix an issue where dispenser displayed sold out even when dispensable items. Okay, sure. Fix an issue where translations were missing for purchasing past season pass ego. Ego shards and pit. Okay. Sure. Fix an issue where glow VFX were applied to claiming past levels after claiming your dungeon. Okay, sure. Fix an issue where enemy skill weakness spotted fire for main story 510 was incorrectly labeled. Okay. Fixed mislabeling issues on Sinking Deluge status effect from certain enemies in story 18 and 19. Okay. Have not gotten there yet, but oh well. Fix an issue where Twin Hooks Pirates first made Gregor extraction animation did not play certain sound effects. Okay. Fix an issue where unhighlighted skills could be turned into defensive skills during the focused encounter tutorial mission. Sure. Fix typos. Okay. Abno fixed text issues and choice results for KQE. KQUE. My bad. Fixed an issue where left hand and the right hand are the same icons in focused encounters. Left hand and right hand? I don't know what the hell that means. Probably I'll find out later. Fix an issue where having ID training ticket 4 did not allow players to enter the level up menu if they did not have any of the first 3. Okay. Changed BGM for XP Lux. Sure. Fixed an issue where skill UI did not move the camera properly while certain enemy unit skill VFX were playing. Okay. Fix an issue where allied units skill 3 VFX did not play their respective voices. Sure. Fix an issue where W Corp E-Song skill 3 coin 3 did not activate as intended. On kill gain 3 charge barrier. In-game effects gave this unit 5 charge barrier. After on kill gain 3 charge. In-game effects now give this unit 3 charge barrier as written. Okay, they nerfed W E-Song. Noted. I'm kidding, but I mean it's technically a nerf, but it's a bug fix. We've applied an issue where this or we have fixed an issue where this unit's upside 4 charge barrier gain effects were applied to upside 3 charge barrier gain effects instead. Oh, so he gains 4 or 5 charge barrier at upside 4 and 3 charge barrier at upside 3. Okay, sure. RIP budget players, I guess. And then known issues. Issue where upon entering an encounter after setting toggle detailed skill info, the skill info would not fade away, whatever. That sucks. An issue where if the user enters theater main story after completing 519 but before starting 520, Kanto 5 story UI does not show in the theater. Okay. That's not too bad. And then you know what, we'll watch the damn trailer, why not? What's stopping us from watching the trailer?
메르소입니다. 작은 형님을 보필하고 있습니다. 이상입니다. 식구 안에서 일어나는 사소한 실수, 그 실수를 나서서 덮어주는 것은 제 사소한 즐거움입니다. 그것이 의리라고
he's looking like a damn baddie or what?
이리 와서 자세히 설명해 보시죠. 장부에 적어도 반드시 갚아드리겠습니다.
돈 키호테요. 중지의 작은 아우이자 작은 형님의 든든한
Oh, she's got the colon 3. Classic. Classic. Smite R2, no 3 cold.
여기 그대 이름이 있지? 지워지길 바라나? 그럼 그만 죽어야겠.
I mean, these IDs look hella metal metal as hell, bro. I don't know. I mean, looks damn good. They look like bruisers to me. They look like bruisers. So the counter skill makes sense. Again, it doesn't really depend on their health as much as it does their stagger threshold. Their stagger threshold is the most important thing. If Don can't really use this more than 2 or 3 times per fight, like, it's kind of tough, right? Like, or 1 or 2 times mostly. Like, if she can only use it like twice per fight before getting staggered and then becoming like hella useless, then it's gonna be tough because it takes a lot of work to heal her back. So I don't know. It seems tough, but they do seem pretty good. And then obviously patch notes or whatever. So I mean, yeah, okay. I like it. I mean, I obviously like it. I don't know if they're going to be like hella relevant. Don has they both have a solid chance. They actually both have a solid meta chance. It's just their coin value, like the value, not necessarily the coin values, but especially the power up and damage up values need to be like solid, like really solid. If they're really solid, then he could probably be a meta, like the meta option for him. But it's tough to say. Like, it's tough to say. And then obviously Don is tough too. I think she is harder to justify being meta, maybe. Like, I might bump her down to a 6, like, I don't know. But it's hard to justify saying that she's probably going to be better than W Don when W Don is so much easier to use, has better Sin generation, synergizes with W Ryoshu among other charge IDs. Like, just better because she herself benefits off the charge that Teledon can give. So it's like, I don't know. She could be solid. I think I hella overrated her in the meta, honestly. I think I'll bump her down to a 6, bro. Like I think meta rating, like, I said 7, I think. I'll give her a 6. I'm like talking myself out of it. I don't think she's going to be that meta. I think general rating is still really good, though. I think generally she's at like a 9. If you're not comparing her to W Don. But, like, it's, I don't know, like, maybe even a 5. Like, maybe I'll bump her down to a 5. Like, I don't think she's gonna be that meta relevant. The counter mechanic is awesome for general gameplay, but, like, in a railway setting, it's, like, way too costly. Even if you can use the skill 3, like, multiple turns in a row, just the fact that you're taking so many hits is not appealing when the enemy has thirsting. Like, the enemy is thirsting, so they're healing and shit. Like, oh my, I don't know. And she doesn't, nah, okay. I'm talking myself out of it. I think she's probably gonna be like a 5. Also, that's the lowest I'll go because she does have the potential to be cracked. But I think she is like about the same as Meursault in terms of like how meta I think they'll be. But generally, I think they're pretty good. Yeah, generally I think they're pretty good. That's where I'm gonna leave it. So, looks like that's it for today. Hey, cheers. Thanks for watching. I'll finish the part 1 of chapter 5 like later. Don't worry, it'll get done before the part 2 releases. Trust me. But yeah, until next time, you know, hey, peace out. Yo, what do the pirates say when they fucking when they say goodbye, bro? Like, I'll keel haul you, or something. I don't know. Subscribe or I'll keel haul you. you're walking the plank. I don't know, bro. Like the video where you'll walk the plank. That sounds terrible. Whatever. Get the hell out of here.